See, I love the adjective, or I don't know, noun, thought, because it's already non-binary.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lee.
And I'm Kat Kilejan.
And you're listening to Big Zisters.
Jenny and I both come from conservative backgrounds. I'm Armenian.
And I grew up queer in a Mormon family.
So safe to say our puberty experience was a little rough.
We really had no one to talk to.
Which is why we started the show.
Yep, you've got questions, we've got answers. Probably.
No subject is off limits, so let's get into today's episode.
Come have a chat with your big sisters.
Advocate.
So you're out there doing the work for us.
Yeah, obviously. I'm on the ground floor.
Kai's on the ground doing something.
I'm on the ground showing pictures of Jenny to strangers and be like, what are this person's pronouns?
Wait, what's it called? You're like a dominatrix, but it's for like getting pronouns right.
Thematrix?
No, bitch. Your pronouns can still be she, her.
No, you don't get it. Maybe the space just isn't for you, Jenny.
Oh, your pronouns aren't they, them, so why would you be a daminatrix?
Daminatrix. Turn that letter up. Stupid.
The title of this episode should be Asexuals Who Slay.
Slaying your asexuality.
We already did that one.
No, we did slaying your skin.
Slaying your skin. Slaying your naturally.
Asexuality.
Flor, put that on a shirt.
Flor, you ate.
All right, you guys, you're listening to Big Sisters. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Kat.
And today we're joined by two very special guests, strangers, never met them before, off the street.
Hi, my name is Flor. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet who?
Nice
to all of us.
meet you. Well, I'm talking to the listeners, obviously.
Flor's talking to her in a week, listening to this.
Yeah, really.
And then we also have Annabel.
Hi, Annabel.
Call and response.
I'm Annabel.
And this week we're talking about asexuality.
Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
50% of us are asexual, which is more than
usually that's
that's really high
that's
representation.
That's
huge.
That's a pretty good.
Dare I say the most in any media ever
low-key.
put out there into the world.
This is the most asexual representation we've had in mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
This is mainstream. This is mainstream.
And the plant behind you, low-key, is looking a little asexual, too.
This one?
Yeah.
They're taking over. We're taking over.
Y'all are outnumbering us.
Yeah. Kathy's gonna get canceled for putting asexuality onto a plant. Watch that be the thing. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with, and no pressure with any of this. Don't feel like you have to have any sort of calculated response. Just say whatever comes to your mind. But if you guys have any funny anecdotes about asexuality and your journey.
That's usually how we open up the episodes. If you listen, you would know that.
Flora would know. Annabelle, I think also.
I did listen to the beginnings. Yeah, I do know that part of it.
We've been shit talking you in almost every episode, and the fact that you haven't brought it up,
Shady.
That's shady.
Maybe I haven't brought it up, but I still know.
It's been really sad. You've been internalizing.
It's a silent slay.
I don't want to talk about how I'm in a room full of people who talk shit about me.
Not me, Annabelle.
Annabelle.
It was a joke. I'm sorry. It was a joke.
Okay, funny anecdote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's not very funny.
I know.
Topic.
That's the thing is what's happening right now?
All I did was this, and Jenny flipped me off.
Jenny's intrusive thought wano.
No. Idiot.
Oh my god.
Sorry, so go ahead, tell us. It doesn't have to be funny.
I have a story. It's not necessarily funny, but it's just interesting because it's how we navigate the world.
Yes.
So I went out for drinks with my last boss and with my coworkers at the time, and we were just kind of catching up. And I don't know why, but my boss is a super sexual person. She lets us know. She was telling us, she was oh man, in my 20s, I was hooking up with the same guy at the same bar every week, in the bathroom. And she was I bet you guys have the same experiences. And I just looked at like all the other coworkers and we just like looked at each other in like confusion. And she was like, so like about you guys, like what's your guys' like sex life like? And my coworker on the side, she's one of my good friends, Hannah. She was like, oh,
Shout
you
out, Hannah.
She's just like, oh, like I don't really like hook up with people. Like it doesn't come up very often. And they like asked me, and I was just like, like, how do I?
Not your business.
How do I answer this question? Yeah, because like obviously it's like not her business. Like she's so much older too, so it was like just weird in general to be like talking about this stuff with like your boss.
Yeah.
And so I just had to like, I didn't want to lie because I resort to lying usually, or just like giving non-answers.
Mm-hmm.
But I just said
what kind of lies do you say? Like,
have you ever lied to us?
Copy in the bathroom.
No, not like lies, but just like lying by
Default or like by omission.
Yes, lying by omission. So like not saying anything. So like if a boss is like, oh, like you know what I mean. Like if he's talking about like hookup culture and he's like, you know what I mean, right? Like I'm not gonna go into
do
it.
I?
Like I'm not gonna
actually I don't.
Do I ever? Oh my gosh.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get into it. So I'm like, yeah, totally. So
I love the sex.
of course.
The sex.
Yep.
You just give a Wattpad fan fiction, but from your POV.
Wait, yeah, it's true. Because I
You're
feel
like,
like Flor still writes a lot of Wattpad.
I do not.
Or did.
At one point.
Yeah.
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 I never wrote. Well, I wrote one smut, but that was it.
Oh yeah.
That was the height of my career.
Asexual people can write on Wattpad too.
Oh yeah.
That's the so.
Yeah,
Ace people can write smut. Definitely.
my parents sold me to One Direction, but we just hang out.
Deal. I love.
We just chill. We're just vibing.
That's definitely what my fan fictions were like.
Yeah.
It was like I would meet One Direction and we would just have a really good time.
That's so cute.
It was so
That is
cute. And I
cute.
was like, this is my dream.
That's so cute.
Meanwhile, I read ones that were like my biggest enemy in school. Hot jock got me pregnant. Me.
No,
I said, let's go.
I'm definitely in the camp where, like, when I was little, I loved smut. Like, it was so bad. Like, for some reason, I don't know. We'll get into it on, like, the spectrum part, but to me, like, the thought of sex as a kid was, like, hot, you know? So, like, I would read, like, alpha werewolf stories.
Same.
They're Omega girls.
And so you watch B-Star now, right?
It's the alpha werewolf to B-Stars pipeline.
To asexual.
To asexual, yeah.
You prefer the term ace just in casual speaking?
It's just shorter.
Both? Okay.
It's just shorter.
It's fun having to not just talk to Jenny.
Oh.
This is why you get this. I knew that was coming.
You know, like, do you guys, this is a question for podcasters out there. Do you ever just fucking hate your co-host?
Do you ever realize that anything you say bad about me, I can just cut out?
I can edit too. I just don't want to.
You just don't want to. Because you're a networker. Okay, so how this podcast works, for those who don't know, is we ask and answer 7 to 10 most searched questions on the internet about this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Asexuality. Okay. And since Kathy and I don't have a lot of firsthand experience on this, we're gonna let you guys like have the main stage.
Yeah.
This is your podcast now.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all own
What
this.
should we call it?
Yo, what do you want to change the name of the
Bigger?
podcast?
Huh?
Bigger sisters.
Cooler Zisters.
Biggest,
Bigger,
coolest,
cooler,
less,
better Zisters.
Yeah, asexual.
You know what? Y'all ate with that title. Good for you.
We're gonna go home and start our own podcast.
Honestly, we could.
We could.
We really could.
We probably should.
Wait,
We
join our
should.
podcast
It
though.
would be a great resource.
It would. I don't know if there's any ace podcasts out there.
Yeah, really.
You gotta find them.
Actually, I
So
haven't
this is our
looked
first
into that.
collab.
I haven't either.
Okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna
Okay.
get into it. So, first question, Kathy, shut the fuck up. Okay, define asexuality in your own words.
You've been practicing this.
Hold hands
so
the
you're
whole
gonna
time.
start.
You
You're
go.
gonna
You
start.
go.
Asexuality, in my own words, is the lack of desire to engage in intimacy.
Physical intimacy or
Physical intimacy, yes.
Vibrational intimacy, perhaps?
Vibration.
Can you fuck with someone's vibes or what?
Yes, 100%. No, for me, it is pretty physical.
See, this is how I know I thought you were talking about vibrators, Kathy.
I know.
Oh my god, no, I'm sorry. I thought I meant like vibes. Like
No,
somebody's
I
vibes.
literally was like, goes both ways. Goes both ways.
I know, Jenny looked at me. I was like, "That wasn't a fucked up question. It was a bit.
No,
it was a bit."
I was like, yeah, vibes.
It's a valid question either way you take it.
Flor?
Okay. For me, I would say sexuality is just the lack of sexual attraction and not necessarily someone's behavior.
Mhm.
Because people can be asexual but still enjoy sex. They just don't have the sexual attraction towards the person.
Let's get into it. We got
That's
this.
good.
Is we're gonna unpack
this is
this.
good.
Complicated. Yeah.
Jenny, now you answer. What does it mean to you
To be asexual
as an
Yes,
ally?
From an outside perspective.
From an outside
What
perspective.
is asexuality to you?
As an asexual ally.
That's from what, yeah.
Okay, let me think. I think asexuality is something I will probably never understand. And so
Okay.
Us doing an episode.
Versus defining it in your own words.
Jenny said, "I simply don't get it."
Jenny said, "Could not be me."
No, not in
Good
not
for
in, like,
you guys, but not me.
Jenny said, "Mm-mm." This is my Jenny hat.
No, I think it's just more in the way of I'm a little nervous to try to define it because I can't experience it firsthand. So I think it's just like a situation where I would always just default to because it's such a person to person experience and it's such a spectrum.
Right.
So I would just say it's whatever other people actual asexual people feel it to be on a person basis. That's my non-answer. That's my political answer.
To me, it's like when you rock with someone's vibes, but not their cock. You know, that's how. That's how I see it.
But that's not even fully it, right? Like, because Flor just said you could.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I researched this morning.
Okay, let's get into next question, you guys. Can you describe what it's like to realize you're asexual? This could be a really long-winded story.
I know, it's a long.
But just share whatever comes to mind, whatever you think would benefit other people. But you saw the other questions we have.
So what was the question?
Oh my god.
My attention span is short.
Okay, the question. Can you describe what it's like to realize you're asexual?
Okay. For me, it definitely took a long time just because I feel like when you're growing up, you live in a very sexual world. Like we all live in a very sexualized world. Like it's in media, it's in books, it's in just everywhere around you. So to me, it took a long time to realize because I was always kind of putting it off. Like I was putting sex off. I was saying okay, when I was a freshman in college, I remember thinking I could be ace because I don't want to have sex. But at the time I put it off because I was like, I'm so young, maybe eventually I'll just find someone who I really like and I'll want to have sex with them. Years pass and I have crushes on people, but I don't want to engage in them sexually. And I'm always thinking oh, maybe it's just anxiety. And then eventually I think, oh, maybe it's just trauma and that's why I don't want to have sex. And maybe if I work on it through therapy, I'll eventually want to have sex. I had all these notions that I eventually have to want sex, you know?
Right.
And so eventually when I had to kind of force myself to realize that there was just something not wrong, but
Wrong
different
with you.
about
I
the
feel that
way-
about
Really
you.
wrong.
super wrong about the way I perceived myself and just like
Mhm.
other people. And also I started comparing myself to other people. Like there was something in my head that I used to do where I would like form sort of like alliances with other people who also weren't having sex or who were also like virgins.
Alliances?
Yeah, like in a weird way. Like I'd see, like I'll use an example of a girl from college. I don't want to say a name.
You can say her name because we'll blurp it out. Blurp.
Okay. So she was a very touch averse person, as we all knew.
Mm.
Like she didn't even like platonically touching people. And so in my head I was like, oh, like I feel like we can relate to each other in a way. Not that I'm like touch averse or like not intimate with friends, but
Yeah.
she just didn't engage in sex the way other people around us were.
Yeah.
But then eventually I heard that she had sex with her boyfriend, and I was like, whoa.
You're like, bitch, I thought we were on the same page.
Yeah, I was like, I thought we were on the same page. And then I was like, I thought we all just kind of didn't want sex. Like, I've always thought people like...
You're like, we had something.
I did. Like, there was a commonality, like, there between us. So I had, like, some reassurance.
Yeah.
But then, like, growing up and seeing how much people talk about sex and seeing that they, like, actually want it and, like, pursue it actively, that's when I started like seeing such a big difference between myself and others. And then that's when I was forced to confront it and like not give up on the idea that it's anxiety or trauma related, but just like
not have to
just shift the
like label something to it.
Yeah, I had to like shift my mindset and say like, okay, like labels aren't forever, and like the label asexual helps characterize how I feel in the moment. And in the future, therapy might help me work through trauma, and in the future I might want sex. But I shouldn't think about that and to like keep myself from trying to move forward with how I feel right now. And so eventually I started to become more accepting of me using that label. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I feel a lot more comfortable with it, but yeah.
Cool. Just a side note, Flor, I think, is recently starting to tell people more stuff about this part of yourself.
Yeah.
Flor just came out to me in our friend group like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. Super recent.
I'm literally like within the last month.
Yeah.
I've been able to like say I'm like
I know.
asexual. I'm calling it acurious.
Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
Asexual.
I want to hear Annabelle's though.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing with us though, Flor.
Yeah, thank you, Flor.
That's very
a lot of follow-up questions.
Very relatable. Pretty much like exactly the same thought.
Yeah.
The thoughts. I thought like when I was in college, I was like, okay, time to have sex because everyone else is having so much sex. And so I did a few times, and like every time it was just like the worst feeling in the world. And I like really hated myself after. I don't think I knew the term asexual probably until like, I think I ignored it for a very long time. Like I knew of it and I knew probably that I am, but I just literally would ignore it. And I would be like, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't found the right person, or I just need to get over some issue I have or some trauma. And I made up a lot of excuses. And then I think I was like, I'm not able to have meaningful relationships because I'm so scared someone's gonna want to do something I don't.
Yeah.
To the point where like, I mean, Jenny knows this. I would like run out of like someone's house, like to avoid them, like because I'm like, oh my God, they might want to like kiss me goodbye, or they might like whatever. Like
we were on a date and Annabelle ran out.
Okay, so yeah, I'm specifically talking about Jenny. But you know, it's not the first time or last time it happened. And I've lost a lot of like meaningful relationships or potential relationships because I've just been too like scared to be like, hey, I think I'm asexual, and like honor that in myself. But realizing it was really scary, and it was like, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting put into a box that like I don't even want to be in. And it's going to separate me from the people around me. And that sucks. Like having to actually be like, hi, I'm asexual. And people be like, oh, you know, like,
I'm good.
yeah, we can't pursue this relationship.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think my most recent relationship ended because I was like, I don't want to be intimate at all. And, he was like, I do. And so I was like, okay, I'm hurting myself. I deserve to like be able to like accept this and like actually put this name together. So I don't know, like realizing it kind of felt like just kind of accepting it. Like that was like those two met.
Did you ever feel like you like resented the partner you were with for like not knowing before you like came out to them?
I don't know. I was in a relationship in college and we never had any physical intimacy, like past kissing. And I remember I brought it up like 3 months in and I was like, this feels like we're not doing something we're supposed to be doing. And that's sex. And like, we haven't talked about it. And I brought it up with her and she was like, I don't have any desire to have sex. And I was like, me neither. Great. Like, this is
slay.
Like
slay.
And I was like, well, if you ever do feel like you want to have sex, like, let's talk about it. I like would love to communicate. And it like didn't come up again. And then like we ended up breaking up. And she since is with she's been with a guy for like 2 years.
Dang.
So I'm like, I think
Straight.
She was straight.
I think she was literally not physically
That was a
attracted to
turn
me.
for the worse.
Wait.
So, but I'm saying like I didn't resent her because I was like, oh, we're
I
both
would've.
just. I didn't know. And my last partner, I did kind of resent him because I told him like up front, I was like, I don't want to be physical with you, and I don't know when I will. And then he was like, okay, I've waited 2 months, and I'm like, well, you might have to wait forever because I don't.
Yeah.
And so like and he was like, I'll never understand the anxiety you have about sex, and that I was like, it's not anxiety, like.
I just want to do
that
it.
was a huge click for me because I'm like, I don't like that you just use that word because I have anxiety about hanging out with people because they might want to have sex. I don't have anxiety about sex.
Yeah.
Just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
T-shirt.
Like it's not a mental illness. Like it's not
Right,
anxiety.
right. So that's why I'm like,
something else.
we'll get to this more about the trauma, but like it can't be because there's so like such different reactions.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
Woo! Me and Kathy are just like,
I get
hey,
it. Yeah, you have to
cheerleaders.
clap. You just have to.
Wait, y'all keep eating. Y'all just keep eating these questions.
I feel like we're like stage moms and like our kids are like in the spelling bee and they're like kicking us.
I know Flor was in the middle of the sentence and I saw her go, wait. Killing it.
Smile with your teeth. Show your flipper. Show your flipper. That was $10,000.
So
None
funny.
of that. Oh, we'll see.
None of that. Okay. This is a pretty general question. And this is like I'm sure you guys have just done a ton of research, but how do you guys understand the asexual spectrum to look like? Like, can you guys like describe it for us?
I'm gulp smacked. Waiting for you guys to answer this
Say
question.
that again.
Gulp smacked.
Respect.
Gulp smacked.
It's
It's a Love Island saying. I'm sorry.
what to say.
Go ahead.
It's pretty big, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally, like because you can be asexual, or aromantic. You can be.
So aromantic is like on the asexual spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a term that encompasses all of the A's?
What?
Is there like a term that like encompasses like all of the A's? Is that the right way to frame?
Yeah, it's ace.
I know what you're asking. I personally see them as different.
Okay.
Like, I think sexuality and romantic attractions are two separate things.
Got it.
The way I see it is like the spectrum is like sex repulsive on one side, and then sex favorable on the other side.
What's in
That's
the
how I
middle?
personally see it. So like sex repulsed is like you actively don't want sex. Sex favorable is like you enjoy sex.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you're experiencing the sexual attraction to the person, but you enjoy the physical activity of sex. And there's like,
yeah, then there's also like not enjoying sex, but enjoying having sex with your partner for like their benefit.
Yeah.
Like you actually don't feel anything, but you're like, I like that.
Yeah.
Isn't that just sex with men?
You're done.
and there's demisexual in there too.
Yeah.
Which is like the one that a lot of people identify with, which is like you don't want to have sex with someone until you really know them. Until you have an emotional connection with them.
Yeah.
There's a sublabel. There's so many sublabels. There's one called agosexual, which I feel like is one that I kind of identify with, which is like you don't want sex, but the idea of sex is appealing. So like you can read about it, you can like consume things that have it, and it's appealing, but like realistically I would never want it.
God,
that's like interesting because that relates to a listener question we have, which is, can asexual people be horny?
Yeah.
Can asexual be horny?
Do we want to get to that now or later?
I mean, I think
we were talking. Do you want to? Is there anything? Okay, so I have a quick spectrum question before we move on. Like, do you think that you can like move through the spectrum at like different points of your life? Like at one point, if you're like, I like using my vibrator, but I don't want sex, and then if you get a partner, you're like, maybe I could try it with them, and maybe I'll like it. Like, because you said for one of them, it's like you like the physical act of it for their benefit, but not like you're not like pursuing it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it could even like vary on the person. Like literally, I think it's a very fluid.
Yeah, it's like any other spectrum. Like labels aren't permanent,
like,
so you can
in and out of different. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you said you're the Flor. You feel like you're the ego.
Yes.
The ego.
Yeah, it's like ego.
We gotta make a meme.
Put me on an ego waffle.
We literally
How about you, Annabelle? Which part?
I haven't looked enough into that, but that sounds what I am. Where like I don't ever need to have it, but I like you know watching.
And there's no other way to put
it. That I can consume sex and be fine with it. I'm not like that's fine.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Cute.
So the listener question, Angel Baby 69.
Madame
Angel Baby 69.
I know Angel Baby 69.
Yeah, you do.
Madame 69
Actually,
goes
sorry,
in.
this one came from
Madame 69.
This one came from Ace Baby 69.
Yay!
We got 2 listeners.
Weird how you guys never write questions in.
I literally have.
Literally.
Y'all just refuse to answer it.
Laura asked the question about buttering her muffins. So
you have to cut that out, Flor. We can't say that. But yeah, can asexual people be horny?
Yes.
I think that's
horny.
Yeah. I mean, have y'all seen Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz in the Batman previews? Like, come on. And also, like,
I get horny.
Annabelle said, I'm horny right now.
I listen to a song, I'm horny right now. I see someone, I'm like immediately horny, but I just have no desire to act on it.
Yeah,
I'm like literally like,
Yeah, you can watch porn. I read erotica.
You
can. You're allowed to.
You as
But you have to let me know what category. You have to let Flor know what category you're watching first, and she'll give you permission.
Porn? Is that a thing?
You know, I've wanted to look into it, and I bet they do.
I'll look it up right now.
Look it up right now.
I'm on my work computer, so let me use my phone.
And see if there's like a blog.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Like,
I wonder what that would even look like.
I don't know what they would talk about.
They would just like verbalize what they would do to each other.
It shows up on Madame Hub.
What?
Yeah, I feel like sexting or like narrating what you would do to someone.
Yeah, would it be like literotica stuff?
Literotica, yeah.
Or erotica. That's what it's called?
Literotica is the
called?
website. The fact that I pulled up the website name is so funny.
Anyway.
Apparently, there's also something called aphobia, which is a fear of asexual people.
Oh, it's like homophobia, but for ace.
Wait,
Huh?
I know.
Do you guys experience aphobia?
So much.
Yeah, I feel like it
That's-
penetrates, no pun intended, through society.
What do you think it's like rooted in?
Kathy said that's our word.
Kathy, you didn't even hear it.
Kathy
No,
was
what is it?
Kathy zones out every like 3 minutes.
She was on
Me on Pornhub looking at asexual porn.
Kathy got horny.
Yes! Kathy, she's not showing one of her hands.
All you hear is
That's
Oh my gosh.
that's
those
the
hands are up, bitch.
horny awareness though. Horny asexual people awareness. Floor's one of the horniest people I know.
It's so true, because literally all through college, people would be like, Flor is the horniest. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not having sex with anyone, but
You are
It's the energy
I guess
you
it kinda
evoke.
stands. The energy is there.
You give off horny girl energy.
I do.
not horoscope.
It just
horny.
doesn't manifest itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Well, we were talking about aphobia, right?
Yes.
What do you think that's like rooted? Like, okay, when you did come out, either of you, like when you came out to people, like, did you get like a negative reaction? Because I don't know, Flor, like I know. Annabelle, are you white?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say like because Flor, as I know, is like
Wait, what?
Kathy said what?
You whisper.
are you white?
Kathy
I was-
signed YT.
Because I was gonna ask Flor, coming out to your like brown family, like were you, because I feel like people get like what lesbian is, what gay is, like there feels like there's an understanding, but I didn't know, Annabelle, if I should direct it to the both of you. That's all. I'm sorry, it's been a really long day. Did you guys, like when you came out to anyone, did you have that like negative reaction of just like not getting it and not trying to understand?
I didn't come out to. I probably won't come out to my family.
Fair.
It's not their business.
Yeah.
I've like thought about it and I wanted to, and then I was like, oh, it doesn't actually, like my mom doesn't need to know.
It's very weird, because the thing is, a lot of people's romantic and sexual attractions align, so they only need, if they have another orientation than hetero, they don't really need to come out twice for both attraction types. Like if someone is gay, they don't come out twice saying, I sexually like men, but romantically I also like men. So it's weird for ace
that's
people
true.
because romantically you could be straight, romantically you could be gay, but ace only refers to your sexual attraction. And I'd already come out to my mom. All I said was that I also like girls, so as far as she knows, I'm just bi.
I came out. I can't. And then I was like, you don't go up to people and you're like, oh, I love to have sex. So
Right,
I'm
you
not going up
don't-
and being like, I don't love.
Right. It's weird to come out for the sexual part of it, because
That's
it's like
true.
it's different, and that's why it's different coming out for ace people, because sometimes it feels like it's not fully necessary.
Right. But you do want to tell people, like, because I told my friends and I told my roommates.
Because it informs your lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you weren't queer, do you think you would have?
No. And I did actually come out to ace in my family. So it was kind of interesting for me, because yeah.
Your mom too?
Well, so here's the story. So when I was first figuring out that I was like ace, I was still having a really hard time with it. And I kind of briefly mentioned it when I came out to them, but mentally I was in a really bad place, just because I feel like you fall into like a rabbit hole of thoughts and like negative thought cycles, like thinking like, if I'm not having sex, I'm never going to get into a relationship. And if I never get into a relationship, like all my friends are going to get into relationships and they're going to leave me alone. And if I ever even have like roommates, like the roommates will eventually have partners. And it's just like, I felt like I was so isolated and I was going to be like alone for the rest of my life. And I was like, without like those connections in my life, I was like, what life is this? Like, this isn't a life worth living. And I know that sounds super dramatic to come from just being ace, but it's like
it does. You literally are like, oh, I'm never gonna find love or be loved because I can't do it in a way that society shows
exactly
me.
And so eventually I had like a breakdown. So I was like crying, and I was like, every time I thought about it, and I was thinking about it all the time, like I would cry. And so eventually like my family noticed that I was like not doing so well mentally. And I remember like one time I just went to my older sister's room and I like broke down in front of her, and I was like I don't want to have sex. Like I don't ever want to have sex. And she was like, what do you mean? And so eventually like, and this was before I even started using the word asexual. Like I was just describing how I felt and saying like I didn't want to have sex with anyone, and that I felt like I was going to be alone for the rest of my life, and I was super depressed and scared. And so then like I was crying, and I live with my whole family, so then the rest of the family hears me crying, so then they all come into this room. It's a party.
They're like, are you
stage?
They're like, are you practicing your podcast again? What's going on?
I know. And so eventually I'm like crying in front of my whole family and like telling them all. And my mom, she was really nice. I still don't know that she understands like the implications of what I was saying, but she was like, if you think it's like trauma, like I'll get you like a sex therapist, like don't worry, like we can figure it out, like we'll work through it, just like trying to be as nice as possible about it. So that was the only time I ever brought it up in front of my mom, just telling her that I felt like I never wanted to have sex with someone. But as far as like my two other sisters go, I like pretty openly talk about being ace with both of them.
Got it.
My older sister isn't as woke as some people might be. So sometimes she'll ask me things like, why should ace people be on like the LGBTQ spectrum? And I'm like trying to explain things to her. I try, but there's just some resistance there, and sometimes it's not worth it. But overall they're supportive. So
want me to beat her up?
It's nice. No, it's okay. You thought you hesitated.
You did hesitate.
No. But overall, they were all pretty nice about it. My mom, I told her once, like, mentioned my feelings, never said that I was asexual. But, yeah.
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I told my mom a few years ago that I just have no interest in, like, dating or having sex. She was like, what did I do wrong? And I was like, this is literally not about you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't need to bring it. But I did come out to my sister, and she was just like, I don't really understand, but cool. And I was like, me neither.
I know.
So,
yeah.
But, yeah.
Got it. Your sister said, I'm gobsmacked.
Annabelle's a twin. Did y'all know this?
I think
You're a
she's
twin?
asexual too. Yeah.
No
Really?
way.
Yeah, we are like both.
Is your sister asexual?
Just very
I
non-sexual.
thought about it. I asked my
Yeah.
little sister one.
I asked my sister.
I asked my sister if she was ace, because she's also never been in a relationship and kind of doesn't show any lean towards like wanting one. And so I asked her, I was like, oh, like, do you think you're ace? And she was like, I don't know, like, right now I don't think I want sex, but like maybe in the future, like I might want to. And I was like, okay. I'm not gonna push you one way or another, but like I wanted it to be open communication between us.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you said you think your twin sister is ace too?
Yeah, and I was like, I'll tell her, and so that's kind of her invitation where like if she wants to talk or ask questions, that door's open. But you know, she doesn't. Yeah, she's just like.
Is your sister queer?
She literally has never said anything about her sexuality or gender identity or just nothing, like nothing at all. And so I kind of like when I came out as bi, I told her just to be like, you can also like if you want to explore or talk. Yeah. And then when I came out I kept coming out to her. Like every time I figured things out, I would tell her just to like open that door.
Yeah, exactly.
But she really like doesn't say anything. She's never showed any interest.
Interesting.
She gets asked out a lot, but
says no.
She either will say no or like go on one date and be like, I didn't like him. She just literally is like, I have other things to deal with. I'm like, okay, girl.
I feel like that could be something.
She slays the day away. She slays the day.
But like that brings the next question up, which is like, is it? Wait, what'd you say? Sorry. What'd you say?
Jenny said, "Good transition."
Good transition.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Because I think a lot of people try to pin down what the cause is, like even for like being gay too.
Yeah.
And so like people like to pin it on, is it like brain chemistry or is it trauma? And the fact that you're twins and both of you could be.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to label her as that, and also she's just a woman in STEM. She's too busy stemming it up.
True. She girl stemming.
She really is slaying the day away, huh?
She's slaying. She's stemming. But yeah, with that, I tried to think of like every excuse or every reason, or you know, I would be like, oh well, I have this trauma, so it's probably this. I have that, and it got to a point where I was like, yes, I probably to some degree I have had like I've had trauma and that has affected me in ways that have affected my sexuality, but that is not the reason I am asexual. It's like there is just a difference between the two, and like how I respond to sex and relationships, and so I had to just be like, I can't make excuses, or I can't, like, I desperately wanted someone to be like, this is the reason you are asexual. Like, this happens, so you're asexual. And I was like, that's not fair to myself, because I'm just kind of like not actually accepting myself. I'm being like, well, I went through this thing that made me this way. Not to say that, you know, I think trauma does play into sex a lot. But because I've just never really been interested in sex, that's kind of the reason I'm like, that doesn't feel like a trauma response or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the way people used to talk about being queer. Like people would be like, oh, you must have had trauma with like a man if you're like a gay woman.
It really is. And I'm like, in 10 years, like, I think asexuality, people are asexual. And like a lot of people who are asexual just always have had sex because that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, in 10 years, I think this will be totally normal. It'll be totally fine. But like, we are in that kind of transition, which is why it's so isolating and like feels like something we have to like hide or like.
It feels embarrassing.
It's not on this podcast.
I thought it was like a freak, you know, like what's wrong with me? Not on this podcast.
We edit out all mentions of asexuality on the pod. It's just the beginning intro, and then thank you so much.
Oh my god! Or you just edit so it's like, we love sex.
Like, I will silence you, bitches.
Liars! You want attention.
Like, this episode was brought to you by Breitbart. We're going underground.
Yeah.
Jenny, can I ask a question?
But
it's not on the outline. Because it's not on the outline that Jenny.
One question.
You need to hear that, man. Kathy.
Me, can I go to the bathroom?
May I?
May
I?
That
shit took me out.
Oh, you just humbled me.
Oh, I don't know, can you? Oh.
If you could, like, maybe this is, to be completely honest, I skimmed the outline because I'm a horrible podcast host. Love you, Jenny. If you could give advice to like 15-year-old you, or just like a 15-year-old that is like, I don't know if I like sex, like I don't know if I ever want to do it, all my friends are talking about it, but I don't know like what that means for me, what would you tell them?
That was a question on that line.
Yeah.
Well, then I did read it.
Yeah,
then obviously I read it. Good job, Jenny.
No, let's edit this so that you knew it was in the outline and you're just asking it.
Totally fine.
So go off. Jenny, I answer first.
I would say Flor and Annabel.
Good answer.
I would say don't don't run from it. I know it's very, every time we have to like put a label on ourselves, I feel like I have like a list of my labels that I'm just like very tired of being put in all these boxes, but it in the end is going to just like liberate you and let you really find yourself and figure yourself out in your relationships and navigate love in your life. So I would say, like, to 15-year-old me, like, don't obsess over everyone else's obsession with sex. You're young.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have your youth.
You have your youth. Go go do other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I want to make
climate
it intimate, and I want you to hold a mirror to yourself.
Oh,
you answer.
Absolutely not.
But also take your pants off, go to the bathroom, and hold a mirror down there, and then
say it to your vagina.
My coochie.
It's a big mouth episode.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to say big mouth. We'll get sued.
Oh.
No, we never. Yeah, we're
no. We're like, that would happen to us. Like,
we're big shots now.
It's so true.
We would get sued.
Yeah.
Floor says, I'm not answering this question. You know what? You know what, bestie? And you're right. Fuck the question.
I just wasn't prepared for this one.
Oh, shit.
On that line!
Hey, catching you on your toes.
It was on that line.
Yeah, it was on
I
that
wasn't ready for this one.
Also, you don't have to answer if you don't.
It also feels like a very
Do you need like 15 minutes to prep?
Go to the closet and pace.
That's fine. I'll just improvise this one.
Whoa, you're so brave.
I know. Yeah, I would say I really like what Annabelle said. Don't obsess over what other people are doing. Like, I don't know. Don't rush into things because you feel like you have to. Mm-hmm. Don't force yourself.
Darn.
Gobsmacked.
May private school girls enter the podcast.
The podcast studio.
Well, that's pretty good. It's not bad. Not bad.
Not as good as Jenny's though.
Mine was worse. I'll admit
that. Yeah, don't force yourself into doing what you don't want. Take your time. And something I always take with me is life is a marathon, not a race. So if you don't feel like you want sex at the age of 15, like, don't worry about it. Like, maybe you'll want it at age 30, maybe you'll want it at age 60, maybe you'll never want it, and like, it's okay either way.
Okay. I feel like we should maybe wait. This one I think we kind of covered, but I think we kind of leaned into like asexual people. Like, there are some that do have sex. Mm-hmm. But I think an interesting question is like, where does that like boundary lie? Because like, do you think there's asexual people who like would be interested in like hand holding or like hugging or like kissing, or like where do you think that boundary lies for maybe majority of people, or do you think it's case to case?
I would say case by case.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a documentary called Asexual that came out in 2011.
Dang.
And that was, I know, so long ago. It was like, everyone was like, I like holding hands and kissing sometimes, and then everything after that physically is like no-go. It was very like, everyone is the same. And I was watching it and I was like, I don't really feel that way. So like, I think 100% case by case. I think even between like us two, like,
yeah. How do you guys feel about that? Like, where's your guys' boundary?
I would say like hand holding, cool. Like anything I would do platonically, I would do romantically.
Okay.
What's interesting to me is I'm totally okay with kissing people platonically. Mm-hmm. But
cut back to Flor in college drunk.
Cut back.
Literally, anytime Flor got drunk, Flor would be like, "You should kiss."
Because I think
everybody
it's
in the room
to do platonically. But I think the difference is, one is platonic, obviously, and the other one, I feel like I'm being sexualized by the other person, and I don't like feeling sexualized by someone else.
Yeah. It feels like a violation in a very different way.
And I think that one might be a trauma point for me. But again, that doesn't really matter.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, this is how I feel.
Right. And that's like Yeah.
I feel like those are just the things that make you, like, everyone has, I feel like, things that make you who you are, like, present day, like whether it was trauma or just like how you are, like everyone has components that just make them the way that they are present day, you know?
Right, exactly. Like, it shouldn't detract from how I feel, you know?
Yeah. Fact.
Facts. No printer.
Do you guys have any like asexual people in like, or like a TV show, or like have you ever seen like asexual representation in like mainstream media that like you were able to point to and be like, I kind of fuck with that?
There was this one girl in sex education. She was like the girl
Lily?
who goes.
But Lily's nice.
No,
Lily's sexual.
Yeah,
Lily's a
octopus
freak,
one.
bitch.
Yeah, she's
Who
a
did I get
freaky gal.
Lily's
Wait.
the alien girl.
Who has alien
Oh,
sex,
I forgot.
But there's a girl who goes into, what's the guy's name? The main guy.
Justin.
No, what's his
No.
name? It's Ace of
Otis.
Yes, Otis. Yes,
Otis.
When Otis
Otis?
becomes like a sex therapist on campus,
Mhm.
like a sex counselor, and the girl goes in and she's like, all these people talking about like wanting sex, blah blah blah. And she's like, I don't, and like I feel broken.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and the mom is like, you're not broken. Like,
Yeah.
if sex doesn't make someone complete, like how would you be broken without it? That's probably like the biggest
Closest
one that I know.
Yeah.
There was apparently one in BoJack Horseman.
Did you watch that?
I never watched it.
No.
I watched the first episode.
Oh, I liked it. It was good.
I love BoJack Horseman. I think that's one of the few shows. Yeah.
You like the asexual representation?
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that like asexual movie and like I was really excited. There was like a comedian in it who I have heard of, but that was like it was from 2011. It was already outdated.
Right,
like,
it's old. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good.
I feel like that's a good point of like if you see asexual representation or just asexual people and it gets you a little excited and you're like you get little butterflies, like that's something to look into.
Look it up.
That's my one contribution.
Thanks, Jenny.
Good one. Find characters that give you the butterflies.
Yeah,
butterflies.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is oh my god. I keep thinking Kathy's like telling me like the time we have left and it's just scribbles.
This is what I have to do while podcasting because I can't just look straight. I have to like
I'm dead.
I'm an artist.
You're an artist.
Okay, so what are some like resources you would suggest for someone who is questioning or is getting those butterflies?
Asexuality.org. That's where
You made that up.
I didn't actually. I spent a lot of my time there. I posted. It's like there's forums. You can find like groups in your city.
Oh, that's cool.
You can find dating information. But it literally was made in 2011 and they haven't updated it
That's
since.
the thing is a lot of it is very spammy looking.
It really
like
is.
It's hard to trust a lot of resources out there that are like for ace people. So.
Yeah, and a lot I've read like an article on it and it was written by someone who isn't asexual and they were doing a study and it was very like it just felt like voyeuristic and like they were like looking in. So I was like, oh, that just doesn't really feel right. But asexuality.org was really good.
I would say like Discord if you like want to talk to people. I would say YouTube if you want to see videos of people talking about it. I think the most important one for me is funny because we were talking about it earlier, but Reddit.
Yeah.
Like I used to hate Reddit just because I'd always hear about like neckbeard Reddit dudes.
Yeah.
But I've since like really gotten into like the asexual section of Reddit just because it's so cool and like you just see everyday people like ranting, like talking about like their partners, talking about like people questioning whether they're ace, like go on Reddit all the time to like see what their feelings are, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just good to see people and literally you can just make a post. Like I've posted things and they'll just say such nice things and it's just nice to have people who can relate with you. And there's like there's an asexual dating page on there. It's a little hard though because they never post pictures, and
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm about that life,
Oh.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I
That's
downloaded this app, Tammy, this app that's like you can put your asexual. It was the Disney adult effect where like everyone on it. I was like, I don't want to judge this cover, but it has cat
I
ears
know
on.
that's a huge issue. Is I feel like I don't know. Yeah,
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Go.
Well, I put on my Hinge that I'm asexual.
I did that too,
and that
recently.
was the scariest.
Me too.
Scariest thing because it was like, I was like, oh my god, what if they don't see it? Like, what if they don't?
I have those thoughts all the time.
And then because people don't look. Like,
I know.
And then I was like, what if someone I know sees it? And then I was like, oh my god, I have to literally stop thinking this way because it's driving me. And I have a date with someone tomorrow. And I said,
bring them on the podcast.
I will. I said, I want to make sure you saw that I'm currently identifying as asexual. And he was like, yeah, I just figured we'd talk about it. And like, that's never happened, you know?
Dang.
And I was like, what? Like, it was, it's really exciting, but it's also kind of sad that like, it is exciting, you know?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, it should just be.
That's so cool.
That's crazy.
Would you guys only date an asexual person, or would you just be open to someone who's good chill with you being asexual?
I've thought about it, and I'm like, if I'm with someone who feels like they need sex, I am fine with, you know, having a relationship that benefits us both and our needs. I think for me, it's more like I need to figure out what takes the place of sex, like what fulfills that in a relationship, and I don't know yet. So that's kind of like my only with dating someone who.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, I feel like there's such a like sex takes up such a big part of relationships or like physical intimacy, and I don't have that, and I want there to be something like not to replace it, but something to like, because otherwise I feel like I'm just going to be in like a platonic relationship. Like I want there to be something that's like, this isn't just a friendship.
Yeah.
And I in the way I've been raised, that's sex is the only thing that differentiates platonic and
that romantic. Is so interesting.
You need the relationship anarchy chart. I'll show you that later.
Wait, that's actually so yeah, like what would differentiate the like romantic relationship, like the romantic relationship you're seeking from them just being like, cool, we can be friends, but I'm like dating this person and I'm like, I'm fucking this person, but we can still, that's
like poly vibes?
It feels, because when I started doing research, I was like, oh, I'm never going to find love. Everyone wants to have sex. And there are asexual people who can provide that. I can't, and I won't, and that's like a boundary for me. Right now. And so I was like, how do asexual people be in relationships with sexual people? And it literally was like, maybe try and find thing like, you know, maybe not like sex, but find other like physical, intimate ways to be romantic or whatever. And I was like, well, that doesn't really interest me. And the other one was like, let your partner have sex. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll just do that one, you know, like, it felt like that was the only way that this would work. And so then it kind of, I was like, I can't Google this. I can't Google like, how am I going to be in a relationship? You know, because it kind of just goes back to like putting things in boxes and being like, you have to do this. Or,
right.
Are you monogamous?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really.
Do you feel like you can't be?
No, I feel like I think I want to be monogamous. I just I don't like. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen like a monogamous asexual relationship that reflects kind of like what I'm looking for. I don't doubt that it's not there. It's just not being presented like in front of me, so I don't see it.
Yeah.
How about you, Flor?
What's the question?
Would you only be open to dating like an asexual person, or would you be chill to like an open relationship with like a sexual person?
I think I would always prefer to date another ace person just because you don't need explanations. You don't need to set up boundaries. Like both people live in the same mode, you know, like they have the same view of the world. I know that won't always be possible. So I'd definitely be open to someone who is okay with me being ace. But the problem is I'm not of the poly mindset. So if they need sex, they're not going to be getting it from me. So if that's enough for them to not be able to be in the relationship, that's totally valid. Like I understand that most people need sex in their lives, but that's just not something that I can provide. So unfortunately, I don't think that relationship would work out. So to me, like the way I envision future like relationships is like, one, we're either both ace, two, like the word for a person who's not asexual is allosexual. So I'll just use that word instead of saying like a sexual person.
Why not just sexual?
Beast. Sexual beast.
I don't know.
Sexy beast.
Yeah, why not sexual beast?
Why not sexual beasts? Why not normies?
Normies.
Yeah, I'm interested in, okay, so I know a lot of people take like SSRIs and they like almost completely lose their sex drive.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people who just like, maybe they don't think of themselves as asexual, but they like, at that point, they're like, they just like don't have any like interest in sex, and it's like not a thing for them. Like, what do you think about that? Like, have you come across people like that? Or is it like,
I mean, that was another like excuse I tried to use. I was like, oh, I'm on SSRIs. It's my medication.
Right.
Yeah.
But like my roommate is on a higher dose than I am, and she's like very sexual. So it's like, I was like, no, that is me. Like I started taking medication 4 years ago. So like prior to that, I still wasn't sexual. So like saying it's my medication is just like not really fair to like, it's like
it's like shifting the blame again.
Yeah. It's like we can't, it's like you're asexual, you know?
Yeah.
That's it. There's not anything that made you this way. And I think you can be asexual as a trauma response, 100%. But I think asexuality is just, you know, you are born not having sexual desire. And like my SSRIs like help me with my anxiety. So it's like, I'm not going to pick one over.
Yeah. And I feel like people who have like, let's say lower libido from SSRIs, I don't know that I would consider that asexuality, just because they can still be sexually attracted to people. Like those people would probably still actively want sex. They just might not be able to like perform as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe the frequency is just a lot less, but it doesn't take away their attraction, you know? And that's like the main difference between an ace person and someone who has just low libido. But as far as like whether I'd be okay with dating someone who has low libido from SRIs, like sure, like if we're compatible that way, like I'm totally open for it.
Right.
Like honestly, just someone who would be okay with not having sex in the relationship. Like I'd be open monogamously, I mean. And also like I'm open to other arrangements like queer platonic relationships or just like platonic furries. What else is there?
piss kinks,
scat,
all of that. I'm totally scat
too. We just have some listener questions.
Angel baby.
Ace baby. And it shouldn't be 69.
I know.
That's not it's like Ace baby.
31.
01.
Or it's like 6-9 to separate them. Whoa.
You're right. Fuck. I should have thought of that. That's an oversight on my part.
Okay, so this is like, I think this is like still kind of stuff we've talked about, but maybe asking it from like a listener perspective will be helpful. But if not, we can just skip it. So this person said, I'm asexual, and this person I have a crush on isn't asexual. I'm afraid to initiate anything like asking them out because so much of dating is centered around sex. What should I do?
I think you need to talk to them, because first off, you're, you know, do you know they are sexual? Like, are you assuming that because everyone around you says they're sexual? I said I was sexual when I was not sexual. Yeah. I went around to my friend's college. I was like, just had sex with my girlfriend. We never had sex.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're
like, we straight up just did it because I was like, well, everyone
You
else.
smell my fingers. Smell them.
Oh my God. Not your joke.
Ooh.
Unless you claim pan, that's not your joke.
I'm an ally. Allies can make whatever jokes.
I'm an advocate. I can finger.
Someone, so you
Y'all,
can say it.
Can I go back to the do you have a funny story question?
Yeah.
Because that just reminded me of something. So before I even realized I was queer, before I really didn't know much about like the LGBTQIA spectrum in general, this was in college. I had two queer friends ask me like, oh, like, do you know what A in LGBTQIA means? Me being the dumb bitch, I was like, oh yeah, ally, right? I kid you not, they laughed at me so much. And to this day, I think about that. Like, I'll be up at 1 a.m. thinking about how they laughed at me. And I think it's so funny now because now I'm the A in it.
You are the A. I think
It's not ally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No, literally.
something I would have thought.
I think it's supposed to be.
You're just realizing it's
Okay,
sexual.
but that's the thing is it's both.
I thought it was
is-
ally.
People, it's
I
it's
don't
supposed to
think
be
it's.
both.
I don't think it's ally.
Well, there's been like debate of people taking ally, like people don't think ally should be part of it.
I mean,
I
that's
think it's
fair
like-
because that would like, why do I have to be in it?
Yeah, no.
But I just fully thought it was ally.
No, allies were fighting
No,
to
I
be a
did
part of it.
too. I did too, but
I think it's asexual, aromantic. Like, I think that's the official.
got it.
That's fair. Maybe it was like a misunderstanding.
Yeah. I think just a lot of people
Got lost
misinterpret
in
as
trade.
ally,
I think,
Yeah.
including me.
because
A
the
lot
word
of allies.
asexual
Yeah.
is used less than the word ally.
Yeah,
So
because
I
people
think that
literally, yeah.
Oh, wait, you guys. Okay. So I think like a lot of the, like more than 50% of the population is queer. What percentage do you think of the population is asexual?
Slay light.
Like not even conservative. What?
Not even.
Not a conservative estimate, like be liberal with it.
I don't know, because like when you think about how sexual, you know, our world is, it's really hard to even like pay attention to yourself and like the idea that you may not enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us are so conditioned. It's the same way with like heteronormativity. Like we're so conditioned that it's like, I feel like everyone has the potential to be queer, but not everyone identifies because one, they don't have the influence around them. They're not like surrounded by like.
I include those people in my percentage.
What people?
The people who haven't fully
don't
realized.
know.
Oh yeah. So it's like hard.
If I can tell they're queer, then
I
they're queer.
still don't think it's a
I'm kidding.
huge
Yeah.
amount of people. I think it is smaller, but because I think there's a lot of asexual people who like will just engage with sex
Yeah.
because they think they're supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say.
I'll say it after you.
Okay.
I have.
If I'm being more conservative, I think like 1 in 100 for sure.
I was gonna say 20%.
Whoa,
I don't
so
know.
different.
I don't
No,
know.
but I have my more liberal answer.
Okay.
I was thinking like 1 in
You listen to
10.
this. So I think it is because like I was having sex and not enjoing it, and now I will literally like I'm not gonna have sex. That is my boundary.
Yeah.
But there's so many people who are like I know someone who identifies as asexual, but they have sex with their partner. So
honestly, I also feel like as a woman, like sometimes it's just easier to like go with the flow and just be like, well, like this is what I'm supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like it's easy for women, especially like straight women in like heteromantic relationships, to be like, oh, like this is my role as a woman to like serve my husband and like have sex with him. Like this is what life. Yeah, and you're not supposed to enjoy it because this is
even
for the
religiously.
husband.
Like that's in the Bible.
Or like I only have sex with my husband to like have kids, you know, like there's just all of this stuff that I think plays into sex. that
People in the Bible were
normalizes it.
asexual. Y'all, they were writing like you're not.
Jenny said that was in like
pleasure.
the Bible or something.
Hey, you guys,
When
representation.
did we say that you can't have pleasure?
It's definitely in a lot of religions that you're not supposed to take pleasure
No.
from.
I think that's how people like. I don't think.
Oh
it's
wait, no, wait. What are you saying?
No, okay. The joke got misconstrued because you said like everyone in the Bible was asexual, and they said you can't enjoy sex. Like it's not pleasurable. You just have to have sex.
Huh.
Asexual people don't say that you can't enjoy sex. We just don't want to have sex. Do you see what I'm saying?
I wasn't saying everyone.
I thought it was a good bit. I
I
thought it was a good bit, Annabelle.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeez, I felt like I was going
Kathy,
crazy
I wish
there.
you could see this, but Jenny's just been playing with the water bottle with their toes.
I can't. I don't think I can get it. It's too slippery.
Ew,
It's fine.
Jennifer.
We'll leave as is.
Okay.
Ew, Jenny.
What?
Nothing. Just you.
You get the gross. You're so gross. Okay. Okay. So this next question, listener question. This is it's from Kathy.
No, it's from Ace Baby.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, I've had straight sex and didn't like it, but maybe I'd like queer sex. Am I confusing being asexual with being queer?
I mean, do you want to have sex?
Maybe I have more questions.
I'm assuming this is coming from someone who hasn't really like explored a lot.
I would say explore.
Yeah.
Explore. That's the only way you will learn.
Maybe.
Have queer sex. Or think
Or
about having
don't.
queer sex.
Okay,
and
there's
think if you want to.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, don't pressure yourself to want to have sex. Because let me tell you, I forced myself to want sex. And a lot of ace people I'm sure have. But I would say depending, I have so many follow-up questions, but if you are able to, if you're able to, you can always try watching porn.
Say it with me. Try watching porn.
Laura's gonna do a live stream.
And now we hear there's asexual porn, so you can watch both.
Right.
See which one tickles your fancy more.
See which one
or
tickles
not
your
tickle
fancy
your
more.
fancy.
You're good.
Which one gives you butterflies?
Yeah.
Find your butterflies.
I think just look at
Fanny flutters.
both. I think look at just
You
explore
gotta
things.
explore.
See how you feel, because let me tell you.
Give me a call.
Yeah, wait, give me both your numbers.
And like, listen, we're both queer, and being queer doesn't assure that you want.
Did you guys have a moment where you were like, oh, maybe I just would like queer sex?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever did. Because I never really thought about sex, period. No.
Flor said I'm built different, period.
I don't know. I still was very much in denial, but it was never exclusive. Like I never, like when I realized I was queer, it was never like, oh, maybe I just like women and maybe that's why I don't want to have sex with men. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just always had the blanket notion that I didn't want any sex.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I tracked that. That tracks.
Yeah, checks out. Fact checked.
Fact checked.
Good answer. Accepted.
Nice.
Slay queen. Eucalyptus. The code word for this episode is eucalyptus. Who should we shit talk? This is shit talk corner.
On the segment of the show where we shit talk our friends.
Well, the one person on shit talk is in the room right now.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll let y'all decide who that is.
Frankie. Your dog. Okay, wait, let's
We've been talking for 2 hours. I have literally no words left in my brain.
Me neither. Let's not shit talk anyone this episode. This
I think,
episode's about
I
love.
think
This episode's about love.
Loving.
Shout-
About acceptance.
Everyone can give a
Okay.
shout out to one special friend. Everybody go.
I have nothing.
Jenny shouts out Paige. Hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
Chill.
Annabelle shouts out the person they're going on a date with tomorrow. I'll
For
shout out Savannah and Lauren.
Cute. Hi.
Flor. Shout out Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Flor's Chihuahua.
Give Flora a person.
I'll shout out my
Susie.
dog.
Zuzi.
You shout out me.
I shout out
I want a
Annabelle.
shout out. Thanks.
Asexual besties.
Also, can I just say, ace people can be hot. I know you don't always say
Flora
that.
talks about this so much. Flora's so worried. When you were first telling me about it, you were like, I'm just so worried. I'm the only cute asexual person.
Okay, but
I was
no,
like,
but
bitch.
listen, like I went on that dating app and I was like, I told my therapist, I was like, I don't mean to sound rude, but everyone on this asexual queer dating app is very weird.
Yeah,
It's giving Disney
Like,
though.
it's a
She was
thing.
like, what do you mean by that? And I was like,
Like, you don't want to be judgmental, but it's
like,
like I
come
just
on.
they're not.
But look, two very hot asexuals
I may not
And
look it
Jenny.
right now.
and Jenny.
Slay, y'all.
Slay.
Gulp smack.
Okay, you guys, please write in if you have any listener questions about this episode or if you have ideas for future episodes. Rate and subscribe if you're so inclined. That would really help us in our journey.
Asexual, you got
Do you guys want to drop?
Podcast.
You guys want to drop your handles if you're open to any followers and or listeners?
Wow, I'm gonna have a huge influx of followers after this.
If you're looking for asexual support,
Well, you guys are gonna make a podcast,
you
right?
can
Yeah,
we're
we're
making a
making a
podcast.
podcast.
It's called
Asexuality.
Bigger, better.
Bigger, Better Zisters.
Yes. And I'll be not an ally, but a sly.
Slay ally.
Slay lie.
Slay.
Okay, we'll put handles in the byline. Bye, you guys.
I'm so tired, bro.
Sorry, I didn't know it was going that long. That's crazy.
No.